Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Comic Book Chronicles. Happy belated Fireworks and Food Day, aka 4th of July, aka Independence Day here in the States for those who have imbibed or celebrated or in some cases, other cases, the 15th day after Juneteenth. I am your I am your host, Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram. You can find me at CBCaps, yes, CBCaps on Instagram, and that's it.
Okay.
South Carolina with Columbia down the way.
Sounds like I missed one, and I probably did, but it'll come back up later, so don't even worry about it. And with me tonight, as always, is our man in Brooklyn with the sound effects, Agent_70 on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads.
What's up, everybody? Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day. I hope you were safe out there with your barbecue and with your fireworks if you decided to do that. What's up, y'all? Co-hosting from the Borough of Kings.
Brooklyn, we go hard. We go hard.
I'm just a kid from Brooklyn.
There's been an inordinate amount of Brooklyn Zoo being played recently. Not that I'm opposed to it, because I will always jam out to that song. And in the last couple of days, I've been hearing it a good lot.
Shout out ODB.
Exactly. And speaking of, if folks may happen, well, if my filters aren't working right, which it should be, if people happen to hear fireworks in the background, it's because people around here, because it's a legal law here, might have a surplus still saved up. Though it's dry as hell and people shouldn't be going all willy-nilly, they probably are. So if you hear something, don't worry about it. And on that, this is the Coastal of the podcast. Is also on the Coastal of the Podcast Network. That's ESPN.us.
Do it today.
You can also find this podcast on your podcast perusal place of choice, whether it be Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Coastal of the Podcast Network's SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, because that helps people find our show.
There might be another little bit of a rush on this episode because it's hot as hell in this room. Even though I got a fan I got a fan running on me, but
folks, you can hear the AC hum in my home office.
Actually, I can't. So no, your filters must be
doing
pretty good. So yeah. But yeah, we're going to start off. We are coming a day after. We are coming a day later than we normally do, but that should be no surprise. Sometimes,
right.
Let's just take it
as life's holidays happen.
Exactly. Let's just say.
And you know what's funny? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
I was just going to say. Let's just say that we took the day off for the holiday, even though that wasn't originally the plan.
Right. Guess what, folks? I just confirmed that I am at least going into movie protocol for Deadpool Wolverine at the end of the month.
Okay.
Just confirmed it today. So.
Well, we got that out of the way then.
Yeah.
It'll be one of us because I damn sure ain't going.
Oh no!
I honestly, one, I still hadn't seen the second one, even though I know it's out there, and two, I don't care that much about. The first one was good.
I was about to say that's San Diego Comic-Con weekend too. So
yes.
if Roddykat is likely going to be gathering info that weekend for us to record. And probably the weekend after, the week after, we probably try to get Matt Wang 97 to come on and share his experience of this year's con.
I had that in mind already, so I'm glad you said that. But before we get into all of that, I want to say fan favorite Matt Wang 97. We're making it established here.
Right.
But before all of that, and whenever that gets to be the case, we're going to get into the show with a spoiler-free /light discussion of this week's Star Wars: The Acolyte, Episode 6, which is called Teach/Corrupt.
It should also be called Seduce because it's a
Yes.
sexy episode, apparently. It's definitely geared towards people who are very attuned to that. And even if you're not attuned to that, guess what? It'll hit you over the head because it is not subtext, it is text.
Yes, the thirst is real, folks. The thirst
Oh,
is
seriously.
real. So, yeah, after we revisit the crime scene at some points of the show, as I'm calling it right now, because on one hand we got well, like I said, we're not trying to spoil too much of it, so let me try to dance around a little bit. But basically, we were taking up after last episode where we see uh a couple of people, well, two groups of people talking away. One finds out some information that they probably, well, that they definitely didn't know at the end of last episode, and which leads to a curiosity of when it finally struck them that that information was apparent. Which I don't think. I think you can pretty much see the moment where that's the case, but who's to say where the powers that be will say about that. And then on the other hand, we pretty much get the we get shades of the title of the episode in some initial teachings and some potential corrupting that may or may not be going on with a character, which again, the way the show's been going, not a big surprise at the switcheroo. So to what end, I guess we'll find out in 2 episodes, but right now here's where we are. We may or may not have visited a sequel destination that has yet to been cleared.
Right. It has not been confirmed.
Yeah, but
we suspect it, but there are clues that say it is, and there are clues that say that it is not.
Exactly. So we're just kind of waiting for that to pan out. And outside of that, that's the gist of it, of this episode. What else you got to say about it, H70?
No, that's pretty much it. Because we don't want to necessarily spoil too much. We see that both sides of Osha and May are having their stories progress, and we see that the truth of what happened on Brendock is taking a long time to be revealed, but we may actually get to it this next episode.
Yeah, we kind of have to at this point.
So it's been a slow burn. There have been some real great highs in this series. It's been, I think, a little bit of a slow burn, slow developing story. I think that this episode does a lot for a lot of people. Like I said, there's some very, very heavy sexual innuendo and overtones in this particular episode, but also, to underscore the seduction aspect of the dark side. And we see where that might be, where the target of the seduction to the dark side seems to have shifted. So I think that's probably the least, that's probably like the least, it's like the most obvious, switcheroo. And it's not surprising. I guess what I was going to say is it's least surprising,
right?
That there was a shift in focus in the story from one character to another. So ultimately, as I said, we have 2 more episodes to see where this goes. Hopefully, we find out what the mystery is, and there's some resolution, or there's a lead into a season 2. I'm not sure which one I want, to be perfectly honest, but we'll see what develops.
Right. I've been seeing people out there saying that, and it's probably going to bear out to be the case, to where, despite how short this episode was, and I have seen people saying it's still good outside of the the thirst part of it, but just being well done for what it does,
Mhm.
and going into that saying that this whole season is probably going to be better watched, uh, as a binge. Once it's basically a trade, a trade in
Yeah,
TV
pretty
form.
much. Pretty much.
So, and I can see where that's the case because, the episodes have been decent by themselves, but I can see you just kind of go back on this and just watch them all the way through,
Mhm.
or in a couple of sittings, whichever the case may be. I'm it'll sit better.
Right.
So, but yeah, good stuff. Regardless, that being the case, we will move on to My Adventures with Superman, season 2, episode 7, Olsen's 11.
Right. And if you don't get the reference in the title name, ultimately Jimmy is putting together a crew for a heist. And the crew is made up of characters that we have been previously introduced to in the story of My Adventures with Superman, I believe both seasons 1 and 2. And we have them come back to, for some comic effect and for some representation. Obviously, I made a reference to Roddykat earlier that, if I recall, this episode dropped exactly on the last day of Pride Month. So I think they timed that as well as they could.
Actually, you are absolutely right. You are exactly right.
I remember thinking that. Well, I guess they timed that.
Right. So yeah, you're right about that. But the basis of the story is that, hey, if you are up on the show and you remember what happened at the end of the last episode, I'm going to do that. The last episode, we get that side of the story,
Right.
which is a thing that happens with TV shows and books and whatnot. So yeah, we get to see a different side of the end of that story, all ending up in the same place, actually. So and I know we still have at least 3. Well, yeah, we got 3 more episodes, 2 more episodes to go. Excuse me, 3 more. Excuse me, it's 8, 9, and 10. Not like that. Anyway, so the rest of the season is just going to deal with what's going on in outer space, and Clark's new family, or newfound family member, I should say. Which hey, if you're up on DC lore, you already know who it is. Not that big of a surprise,
Right.
yeah, but it was a good episode. I thought it was fun, as this show tends to be. We'll be talking a little bit more about My Adventures with Superman a little later in the show. We also will be talking about a book that also has not necessarily a similar heist mechanic to it, but some similar strains kind of happen during the course of a book that we'll talk about. And with that, Agent 70 is going to talk about this week's The Boys.
Well, if I have one criticism about this season's worth of shows from The Boys, is that we're not getting nearly as much character development as we used to, with some of the main characters. We do see some characters taking steps in certain directions, but we're kind of left hanging with where the crew is and where the crew is going as we lead into the tail end of this season. And we already know that next season is the final season. So there's going to be a little bit of build up towards the end of this season to head into what is going to be the final season. So I've heard this, and I don't want to take credit for it, but it does seem like The Boys is sort of spinning its wheels. It's sort of being stagnant to a certain extent, but we are getting a little bit of character development for most of the characters. Something big happens to Mother's Milk in this episode. There is some undercover hijinks that Huey goes on in this episode that gets a little freaky deaky, and it's thank goodness for a couple of characters always coming to save his butt, because he's just not very smart and he's not currently superpowered, even though he temporarily was for a little while. So ultimately, what we're dealing with here is kind of setting up for what I hope to be a pretty good last season. This season's been okay so far, and that's it.
Alrighty, and with that, then we'll go into the comics of the week, starting off with Scarlett number 2 of 5.
All right, Scarlett number 2 of 5 is written by Kelly Thompson with art by Marco Ferrari, colors by Lee Luffridge, and letters by Russ Wooton. We are in the next stage of Scarlett's mission, and Scarlett is looking to prove herself and escape from a situation that she finds herself in this issue. Ultimately, she is able to make her way into good graces, is probably a little too generous, but I feel that there is some great character building here, because we do have this pre-existing notion of what this character can do, what this character's history is, but we're getting a slow refresh on that. And I can appreciate how they're doing it. It's still mildly frustrating that they're holding off on this one character who's been a mainstay in most G.I. Joe comics, most G.I. Joe storytelling since the inception of the franchise. But I see why they're doing that, so they can give other characters some space to shine. And with that, I'll hand it off to Roddykat.
Yeah, I mean that's has to be the reason. I mean, and it's a good reason, honestly, even if it's not, because some would argue that character comes in and there's probably a pun in that, overshadows.
Yeah, and Bogarts the mic, right? That's the character that Bogarts the mic.
Right, kind of overshadows his contemporaries. So it's best to kind of work around that, and I'm sure it'll be just as glorious when the character does come in, when it does. But you know what? Hey, Scarlett's always been a cool character. They ended up not really doing a whole lot with her in the animated show, and if I'm not mistaken, the Marvel run. I mean, I'm not up on Real American Hero at this point, but they've tried to do things with her with various iterations of G.I. Joe comics over the past few years. This one kind of makes her, probably as badass as she was intended to be, I guess.
Right. And obviously brings her more to the center,
right,
and more to the forefront,
right. And I can't remember if Agent 7 and I talked about where she'll probably end up after this series. Yeah, I think that was after the show, actually, because we kind of noticed in talking about G.I. Joe #1 that's coming out in November last week, that there's been a couple of people missing from, notably absent from the cover, and therefore possibly the team. But we had talked about speculations as to where those characters may end up. That still hasn't come to bear yet, but there's still probably by the time we get to G.I. Joe proper in November, I'm sure that'll probably play out some kind of way. So, but that being said, Scarlett number 2. Good book. It is a potential click of the week for me. I don't think I put that down there though. Because it definitely shows how capable she is and how resourceful she is, and I think that was with both in and out of the pages, because it shows her resourceful with what she's dealing with, and to the folks reading, right, as well. There's a weird Black Widow vibe also that I got off of it, but that's just me, and maybe because of.
I mean, I don't think you're wrong,
right?
Because of the red hair,
Well, that too, but yeah, but also, you know, her resourcefulness
Yeah.
in situations is kind of
Yeah.
similar. So,
I don't think you're wrong at all.
yeah, and I think if I'm not mistaken, Kelly Thompson did not that long ago write Black Widow, so
Correct.
it would be outside.
Correct.
It wouldn't be
Yep.
outside of Notions. But yeah, anyway, worth pick up if you are so interested. And with that, we move to the next book, which is. Go ahead and cue it up, sir.
Keep what up?
The call, the thunder, bring the thunder.
Oh! Oh!
ThunderCats!
There you go.
There it is.
ThunderCats, Cheetara #1 is our next book.
ThunderCats Cheetara #1 is published by Dynamite, and it's written by Sue Lee with art by Domenico Carbone, colors by Chiara Di Francia, and letters by Jeff Eckelberry. This is a limited series because it does say to be continued at the end of this issue. Do we know how many issues it is?
So I don't know if it actually is a limited series because I was trying to look up that information, and I have not found out if that's the case or if this is
Oh, so it's a
an
continuing. Okay.
Yeah, so I think it is an ongoing
All right.
at this point.
All right. So this series it focuses on at least this part of the story, focuses on a bit of a flashback, detailing how Cheetara fits into the power structure of the ThunderCats. And there's a couple of things that are slightly changed from the canon of the cartoon that I remember. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I did not Google this. Did not. Was it Thundranium or Thundrillium?
So that is the question. I think it was Thundranium, but I don't remember also. But at the same time, they seem to be taking elements from the 2011 show.
Okay.
Where it seems that way in relation to some things that get brought up in this issue, but I don't remember if they changed that particular thing.
Right. Did you bump on it?
Not really.
Okay.
Because it was because I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't remember whether I thought about it, but it wasn't. So it was like, yeah, I can't remember which one was which. You know, which if it was the case of, you know, Dranium.
Just because it seems like there's an implication when you call something Thundranium, right? Obviously it sounds like uranium, but ultimately, also, you know, kind of circling back to the point I was making, you know, seeing how Cheetara fits into the power structure and the responsibilities that she had with, you know, the ruling class, as it were, with the, you know, under the guidance, I guess, of the main leader, who happened to be the father of Lion-O. So we see how these characters all interplay with each other, and we also see, I forget if this is a recent development or an OG development, that Cheetara had these like mental powers or some like different kind of psychic powers. Is that a new development or is that an OG development?
Again, that might be, if I remember correctly, might be something from the 2011 series that they kind of touched on.
Got it. So, you know, if you're interested in seeing how, you know, it's not necessarily an origin story for Cheetara, but definitely fleshes out the character more. So that's more than reason enough to read this series.
Yeah, totally. And you get to see a lot of the other characters and her younger. in one case, way younger. But and also you get some classic snarf if that is something that you care to care to have on you. So,
well, not classic in the sense that we don't hear him actually speak.
Well, but you definitely hear his
snarf.
Yes, you definitely hear the snarfs a whole lot more. So, but yeah, Like I said, as this I guess first arc gets starts fleshing out, like and at the end we do get shades of the present, but the past for the current ThunderCats book, I should say.
Right.
So because where in relation to what Agent 70 just alluded to. So that being said, yeah, like I said, if you're a ThunderCats fan, especially if you're a Cheetara fan, you may want to check this out. There you go. And with that, we go into our last book that we have in common, which is back up. Doctor Strange number 17.
Doctor Strange number 17 is written by Jed MacKay with art by Pasquale Ferry, colors by Heather Moore, and letters by VC's Petit. Guess what, folks? It is the semi-resolution to the Blood Hunt tie-in for Doctor Strange. We still will likely see the after effects of this in the next issue, but in this issue we get to see how Wong, bats especially, and that crazy snake, the snakes, and Baron Mordo come to the aid of Doctor Strange against his brother, who just is out to get Doctor Strange at any cost. And I'm not going to spoil exactly what happens, but Bats is always a good boy.
Yes,
I got a kick out of that. The story that he tells, which is like an incantation, and yeah, he's a good boy.
Yeah, when I was reading it, I was going towards another place. I'm like, wait, they're not bringing that aspect of a god back into play in this, because that wouldn't make sense for this character. And then they ended up doing what they do, and I was like, all right, here we go. But also, it made me think, well, there was another adjacent character that could have been brought in with that, but I'm glad they did what they did with it.
Mm-hmm.
and centered on Bats, as opposed to bringing this other character who does actually have a Blood Hunt tie-in that is coming up. So I was like, okay, this is great. This is a potential click of the week for me.
Same.
Oh yeah, and Mordo's there, and he kind of helps out. So and those snakes got jokes. So that's this. This
yeah,
book
it's a fun issue, despite how heavy it kind of all is.
Yes,
and but the lighthearted part is the part with Bats.
Right.
You just can't help but smile reading that whole part of the story.
Right. And since we are, as Agent 70 also alluded to, we're getting kind of near the end of Blood Hunt. We are starting to see resolutions on things, and specifically with characters. And this is the first time this week. This won't be the last time this week where we start seeing resolutions to character things that happen to characters. That has happened to characters in Hunt. Right. We'll talk about that later. And with that, rapid fire.
Alrighty, rapid fire review time, folks.
I ain't got time to breathe.
All right, I've only got 2 books left, so let me go first. First up is Absolute Power #1 of 4 from DC Comics. It's written by Mark Waid, with art by Dan Mora, colors by Alejandro Sanchez, and letters by Ariana Mar. So if you've been reading the lead up to Absolute Power, which includes the Free Comic Book Day book and the Zero issue, you know that Amanda Waller has set things in motion and is building up something more than Task Force X. She's found partners who are just as devious and just as brilliant and just as powerful as she could ever hope to have. And she puts into motion what I was joking with Roddykat earlier in our pre-production meeting about how this is what the fall of Krakoa was times 10, because it's not just targeting one particular group of heroes in the DC universe, it's all the heroes. And Amanda Waller has come up with a way to neutralize, is probably the best way to put it, neutralize all of them. and neutralize all of their powers. And it's just it's a real inventive way to do it, but it does remind me very much of some of the Orcus stuff. But like I said, it's just Orcus stuff times 100. It's Orcus stuff on steroids. So if you're into this, if you're looking to see how the depowered or non-powered characters kind of take the lead in this miniseries, jump on and see. We'll see where it goes.
Right.
Wait
a minute. Before you go to your last, sorry, because I forgot that was something when you said that I was going to mention something about this. It also kind of has shades of Civil War from the other end, or I guess maybe less Civil War, but more. What was that? The whole thing that Marvel just had recently, where New York, outlawed. Outlawed. I guess would also be another touchstone for this, because you think about it. It's the same as that. You had people out, like outlawing the use of powers and finding ways to do power folks and this and that and other. It's kind of has shades of that. So that's what this is
exactly. It's definitely similar to that, but like I said, to a much greater extent, much higher level. Right. And before I get to my last book, I wanted to mention that I did read a number of books this week and skimmed a number of books, and I just did not feel like talking about them. We have this Infinity Watch thing. I skimmed the Spidey annual this week.
Oh yeah.
Not so interested in talking about that. Last for me though is Free Agents #1. It's published by Image. It's written by Kurt Busiek. Glad to see him publishing something that's not Astro City. And he's teamed up with Fabian Nicieza, with art by Stephen Mooney, colors by Triona Tree Farrell. Letters and design are by Richard Starkings, and comic crafts Tyler Smith. So in a similar vein to the Blood Squad 7 book that I jokingly referred to as an unintentional tie-in with Blood Hunt, Free Agents #1 is set in the quote Image universe. So we're talking about like possibly tying into Cyberforce, possibly tying into some of the other group books and other characters that are still in and around the Image universe. Obviously Wildstorm's not there because they splintered off because of the sale to DC. Obviously Youngblood's not there because Rob Liefeld, tried to get the bag and messed that up, right? So there's no Youngblood, but we have this Image universe and some new teams taking up space in that Image universe, with the Free Agents being one of them. It's an interesting concept. These are seem to be off-world types, off-world aliens who did a job and are trying to protect Earth and are basically defending it as a adopted home. But there's some interesting twist to what may be the true reason why they're here, or at least on the Image Earth. So, it was an interesting first issue. I'll see if I can keep up with it for a few more issues and see how it goes. And that's it for me.
Going back to the Spidey thing, did you read that Thanos annual from last week?
I did not. I know what happened in it though, because one of the sons of Cole, the main son of Cole that we know, has returned.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That has been the thing that's been talked about recently. So okay. And with that, we will get into my books of the week. My rapid fire. Starting off with Space Ghost #3. Comes from Dynamite. Written by David Pepose. Art by Jonathan Lau. Colors by Andrew Dahlhaus. And letters by Taylor Esposito. So, Space Ghost tries to, Space Ghost have been teaching the kids how to survive and all that kind of good jazz, kind of doing his best Batman to the Robin, or, Batman to the Robin situation. But of course, being teens, and these two particular teams being, getting into stuff as they tend to do if you are aware of the original cartoons. Well, that happens here, but gives way to Space Ghost and crew working with I don't like my adventures with Superman working with an old Space Ghost villain whom, you know, you might as well say villains be villaining because they do what they do once they get what they want. But but it all turns out in a certain way. We get, I'm not gonna say we get a little bit more on that whole RoboCore thing, but we do get to meet the CEO. And I suspect we will see this person a little bit more in this book because of, you know, because of Space Ghost's tie to the core, and possibly the what little dirt that the villain that comes in might have had on him or with him, but we shall see. But yeah, continues to be a pretty decent book, surprisingly. But next up, Birds of Prey, number 11. Written by Kelly Thompson, art by Robbie Rodriguez and Javier Pena and Gavin Goudry, colors by Jody Belair, letters by Clayton Cowles. And yeah, the reason why there are 3 artists is because they kind of, well, no, actually that's not the reason, because they only moved to a different place once in the particular issue, but it's used to effect regardless. So yeah, the birds are still dimension hopping, still looking for Barbara. They hopped into a dimension that is based off of another one of their members' memories, and they try to stop and get a little bit of rest because, you know, a couple of the characters, or at least one character in particular, kind of trying to deal with the fact that they can't use their powers, but they seem to get their mojo back at the end of this. And you know, on the other side of that, you know, outside of that, we get Iridian, aka Future Maps, trying to help with the assistance of Zealot and John Constantine on the outside, trying to get to the bird. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, Birds of Prey continues to be a pretty good book. I jokingly said, if you're watching the video version, you can see what they're up against in this new pocket dimension right now, and made me think of the fact that they might have been in the Savage Land, if that tells you anything, but they're not. So next up, we head back to what I believe Agent 70 and I both kind of thought to be unnecessary. But X-Men Blood Hunt Psylocke #1 one-shot, which is written by Steve Fox, with art by Lynn Yoshi, color artist Ruth Redman, and letters by VC's Ariana Maher. So I guess the biggest thing for me in this is the fact that I totally forgot about the relationship between Quanon and John Red Crow, which had was
Great Crow.
going on. Yeah, Great Crow. Sorry, what did I say?
Red Crow. It's okay.
Yeah, Great Crow. Which was
because he has a fairly offensive code name from back in the day,
right? And they have wisely just gone away from that and just pretty much made his last name his code name at this point. So
right.
Because I was actually looking for what it is. I'm like, wait, I remember his old code name being kind of not cool right these days. And then I went back and found it. I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. They wisely did that. So, but yeah, but basically, Quanon and Great Crow are in Japan, and then Blood Hunt hits, but they don't really deal with vampires per se. And it's Japan, so, you know, use your imagination there. It's a one shot, so it pretty much is. It is what it is. Like I said, whether it's necessary or not really personally, but it's there for you to read and you know, see that character use their psychic knife multiple times, but not the fatality, like we're classically used to. And speaking of Blood Hunt, we get, oh, you know what? I totally forgot to read Blood Hunters. But Black Panther Blood Hunt #3 of 3, written by Sherilyn Eaton, art by Farid Karami, color artist Andrew Dahlhouse, and letters by VC's Joe Sabino. So yeah, this pretty much wraps up T'Challa's, I guess, side mission, and also clears up a thing that's going on with him in the process. We get a little bit of thirst, possibly from T'Challa in this, and his I'm just going to say fascination with goddesses, which
Yeah.
not the first time, probably won't be the last one, as people have been talking about online. But yeah, that's pretty much that. We may have a resolution with what's been going on with him going back into Blood Hunt, but also we see how a thing from Blood Hunt number 4 happened. So,
Right.
did you have
I
something
just
else?
wanted to just interject very quickly and just mention that I did read this book, and I got what we're supposed to get out of it, but at the same time, I just thought it was 3 issues of just a lot of convoluted stuff. And I get, you wanted to continue the Black Panther story despite the fact that he doesn't have an ongoing right now, so they jam packed this series with a lot of the lore that's been built in the last several series of Black Panther. I get it, but it was just a little tough to follow. That's just my personal opinion on it.
Okay.
And the art wasn't great in the sense that it was tough to follow. I thought it was nice to look at, but it was tough to follow.
Alrighty. Next up, Miles Morales, Spider-Man 22. Written by Cody Ziegler, art by Brent Peoples and Daniel Picciotto, colors by Brian Valenza, and letters by VC's Corey Petit. That's better. But hey folks, if you've been following Miles's book for probably the last 6-7 issues or so, something like that, you remember Miles's run-in with Blade and a vampire that he Bloodline and Miles had taken out, along with a former member of the Cape Killers, who got taken over, got possessed by said villain. Well, that villain's back, and Miles and Hightail, who's the person that I just mentioned, are back for a rematch when a certain daughter of the Daywalker pops back into play, of course, because this is a Blood Hunt tie-in after all. And they all deal with that before going into Blood Hunt number 5. And Dracula pops in for like 5 seconds, by the way, also, who might be thinking of going another way. Kind of come in seeming kind of sus, as the kids would say. But regardless, this is them heading back into Blood Hunt number 5, where things are pretty much coming to a head. Let's see. Next up, Star Wars Inquisitors, number 1 of 4. Oh shoot. Okay. There we go. Written by Rodney Barnes, with art by Ramon Rosanas, color artist Guru EFX, and letters by VC's Joe Caramagna. So this takes place after Order 66 has been given, the Inquisitors around. So, this is after Return of the Sith, and I guess right around or before Rebels. If that's if you needed a little bit more concrete. This is probably well before Rebels though. But so like I said, Order 66 is out there. Vader, the Inquisitors are around. Vader's looking for this one Jedi named Tensu Run, who apparently is a big deal for someone who's just been who's just been who's just come up into the conversation now. You know, apparently this Jedi has been you know, stoking people's fires for hope, and Vader does not want that out there, so therefore he sends the Grand Inquisitor and then also the Inquisitors after him. After we get a little we get the legend of said Jedi and why he's such a quote unquote big deal. And we also get some stuff from the other side where this Jedi is also wrestling with that is all upon him now, up until something happens, and now he has a change of tune. So therein lies that. Last book for me is excuse me, Star Trek, Sons of Star Trek number 4 of 4, written by Morgan Hampton, art by Angel Hernandez, colors by Nick Filardi, and letters by Clayton Cowles. So, ding dong, Captain ThunderCats is dead. Spoiler alert, sorry. Actually, it's, this is basically Jake Sisko, Nog, and Alexander on a parallel universe trip thanks to the son of Q, and they're all pretty much been wrestling with things, with issues that they have been on about, and each issue has been one of them kind of dealing with that, and this last issue kind of settles all of that with all of them, including the son of Q at the end of this, and they all go about their merry way. How they do that, and this is of course in the face of great danger that they had been put in thanks to Q Junior, as they call them. But like I said, things have been resoluted, and everything is back to where they are. Whether this is going to feed back into any other Star Trek actual series or anything, who's to say? I mean, obviously the current comic books, yes, but I don't know about anything, live action wise or animated. And with that, folks, that is my book's Clicks of the Week.
Clicks of the Week! I don't have too much to choose from. I really did get a kick out of Absolute Power, but I think the strongest books that I read this week were Scarlett number 2 and Doctor Strange number 17. And I'm kind of in between those two, so I could use another minute or two or a few seconds. So do you have your candidates?
Both of those which you have just mentioned, definitely. And I would possibly add ThunderCats Cheetara number 1.
I think I'm going to go with Doctor Strange number 17 because Bats is a good boy. But Scarlet number 2 is really good.
The funny thing about you saying that was I thought the exactly same thing.
Bats is a good boy.
Bats is always a good boy. So, and he's got had a brief new status for a moment that made him the best boy. Right. So, yes. Doctor Strange number 17 for Agent 70 and myself this week. But yeah, Scarlett was pretty good. Scarlett, you should check out Scarlett.
Yeah, it's only a 5-issue limited series, so we're not yet halfway through, but we're almost.
Right. And with that, folks, we head on into the news section. But first, our first ad read.
Our first ad read of The Night is for Wink, your personalized wine club. Wink is a world of wine delivered right to your door. From rosé to Cabernet to Torrontés, Wink has over 100 styles of wine to discover. Ever try an orange wine? Wink connects you to a world of exclusive wines tailored to your tastes and delivered directly to your door. Wink delivers 4 bottles of wine to you every month with free shipping. You can pick your own bottles or let Wink choose and match to your taste. It doesn't cost a thing to become a member, and you can skip or cancel anytime. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can enjoy an exclusive discount of $20 off your first order. To place your first order with $20 off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us/wink. That's cspn.us/WINC. Wink Wines through CSPN. Do it today. And now we get into the news.
All right, cinematic news. First up, Black Panther and Terminator Zero's creators are teaming up for a new time travel movie. So it says here that the graphic novel series A Vicious Circle, which is what is being adapted, is going to become a film produced by Ryan Coogler and adapted by Mattson Tomlin, created the original novels with artist Lee Bermejo, and is also the showrunner on Netflix's Terminator Zero animated series, which, if I'm not mistaken, far from coming out or something. I can't remember. Let's see. This is from the Hollywood Reporter. It says that the project is a two-hander, enticingly dubbed John Wick meets Looper, according to this article. I have never heard of that graphic novel, but not surprisingly, because there's a lot out there. Yeah, there you go, folks. Do we have a day? Oh, Terminator Zero debuts August 29th. But we do not have a date for when this adaptation, because it's just been announced, so it's probably going to be something. Next up,
Anthony Mackie, who stars as the new Captain America in Captain America Brave New World, shared a new photo for the 4th of July. And, we get this new look at his suit. It's more blue than it was before. It was very much white and blue, in the vein of the original comic book Sam Wilson Captain America suit. This one is almost like his version of the Winter Soldier suit, because it's a lot more blue and it's a lot darker.
Hmm. And I was also going to say, a version of Steve's Shield Captain America.
Right, that's what I meant, like the Winter Soldier movie,
right.
Whatchamacallit,
right.
uniform, right.
So if you're watching the video version, you can see shots right there, another shot right there of him. So yeah, cool. Next up, the original Sue Storm would jump at a chance to reprise Fantastic Four role in the MCU. Hey, I wouldn't mind her coming back also. Jessica Alba, folks, if you haven't seen either one of those first two 2000s era Fantastic Four, because you have to be specific, because there was a 90s one that was horrible. But yeah, if you've seen the Jessica Alba, Chris Evans, Ian Gruffold, and Michael Chiklis Fantastic Four movies, Jessica Alba says she wouldn't mind coming back. Here's a quote here that says that she loves those movies and it changed her life, that series. We're not going to talk about Dark Angel though. Okay, that's cool. He also quotes, I love that character and I felt like she was so unique in the Marvel Universe at the time. Arguably still now in some cases. There weren't though, I guess, that kind of female superheroes like her. There weren't kind of female superheroes. This sentence is kind of weird, but I don't know if that was quote. So, yeah, there you go. I mean, hey, given that we already know parallel universes, and the multiverse is out there, it could happen. Whether they do it or not at this anytime soon, we'll see. Because hell, we hadn't even seen this movie coming out. This upcoming movie out. Next up,
Marvel's What If Season 3 is the completion of a trilogy and takes us to unexpected places. Brad Winderbaum, the head of streaming television and animation at Marvel Studios, said on the official Marvel podcast this week that What If Season 3 feels like the completion of a trilogy, and as I said earlier, it takes us to places never expected. It goes beyond the first two seasons in its exploration of the multiverse and pulls in characters that are very unexpected. Okay, So this is set to drop in December of this year.
Which we kind of knew. We didn't know specifically when, but yeah, we knew it was coming at the end of this. Also, when did dude get that job? I don't remember seeing any news on that.
No, we did.
We did? Okay.
Yeah, we did.
All right. Next up, though,
it turned out that I was not following the official Marvel podcast stream feed, so I just subscribed to it.
Gotcha. Black Panther: Eyes of Wakanda is an animated series, according to this article, an animated series that is most tied to the MCU which was teased by Marvel TV head Brad Winderbaum. Also coming from the Marvel's official podcast, this information does. Let's see. The quote is, Eyes of Wakanda, more than any other show we're doing in animation, ties directly into the MCU. It's a story about Wakandan history. It's produced by Ryan Coogler and directed by Todd Harris, who is one of our longtime storyboard artists who I first met when he designed the Hulk versus Thor fight in Ragnarok. I also saw another article that it's reportedly a little bit more CG than some of the other stuff, but it's probably similar to What If. I don't see any date on this, so that's all the information that we got from the article. Next up.
Alrighty, so James Gunn has cast Christopher Reeve's son, Will Reeve, in the new Superman movie, and that's a nice little callback for fans of the original 1978 Superman.
Well, yeah, so it's just a cameo. So yeah, that was probably about as much as I expected.
Right, it is just a cameo. It's nothing, it's nothing huge.
Nothing significant, yeah. So, well, that's still cool though. But yeah, it's a nice touch. Speaking of latest Superman set leaks, reveal first look at several iconic DC heroes according to this article. So apparently there are shots of Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. Goes to a Twitter post of said shots from Cleveland.com where it's being shot. It's like we got is that Mr. Terrific? I think that is
Mr. Terrific's in there, Hawkgirl's in there.
Yeah, okay, that's Guy Gardner. Yeah, that's Mr. Terrific and Hawkgirl. And of course this is Sans CG. That's why you see them suspended. There you go.
Right.
Next up.
So Ubisoft is hacking its way into film once again as its Watch Dogs movie has started shooting. The gaming publisher shared the news with a behind-the-scenes picture on X/Twitter. It's a mysterious image that only reveals a clapperboard and an individual who is appropriately sitting at a computer. It's set to be directed by the Deep Dark and Meanders Matthew Turi. Story details are being kept secret for now. Okay.
Yeah, seems like that might be Marcus if the treating of this picture is to be directed. So fans of the Watch Dogs series, which hey, Watch Dogs 2 is great. But I don't think we need this movie. Going back to the last article, I know there's been people out there tripping on the fact of how Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner looks in that shot, which it's Guy Gardner has never looked good, first of all. Second, it's a movie called The Fuck Down. Anyway, next up though, let's see what we got here. Street Fighter lands March 2026 release date from Sony. So after I know we were talking about that the movie has had some issues of late, but apparently it's still set to come out on March 20th, 2026, according to this article. Let's hope it is better than the Street Fighter film, rest in peace, Raul Julia, that we got back in the 80s. Next up.
Okay, so The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power will change its protagonist for season 2 in a move that will probably benefit the show. This is a Screen Rant article, of course, so there's some editorializing here. So, In a print feature for Total Film, showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay revealed that one of season one's characters will step in to replace Galadriel and arguably become the principal protagonist. So, so there's a little bit of a spoiler here. The season one finale of The Rings of Power revealed that one character is actually a pretty big, important character in the story of the Lord of the Rings, and it looks like Galadriel's purpose in the show is going to role in the show is going to be reduced, and Celebrimbor is going to become the main character. So you know what? That's fine as long as you get a good show.
Yeah, I guess so. And it's been so long since season one. I don't remember. I vaguely remember what the hell happened.
Right.
So, next up, speaking of Lord of the Rings, we do get some news from. Actually, you know what? Spin up the anime corner finger.
Alrighty.
Transmute.
Love that one. So yeah, Lord of the Rings War for the Rohirrim shares a new look. So we get a shot from this actually is coming out of Anime Expo, which I will go so far as to say some of this next news you're about to hear is also coming out. A lot of this actually news is going to come out of there. And also there is an article in the clickbait section that is chronicling all of the news that is coming out of Anime Expo, which is going on as we the week or the days that we're talking about, because it was this weekend. So there's bound to be more news that we will talk about next week. Some of which we will or will not, depending on how we feel about it. But yeah, so we get a we get a shot of here. I'll put it up here from Twitter. There we go. We see Hera, who is voiced by Gaia Wise, riding a horse into battle. And we see some other shots with said character. It's like in a throne room situation, in a council type situation, and brandishing a sword. Okay, so these were more short shots than I actually saw on Twitter. But hey, the shots look good, and if you're interested in that anime, go check those shots out for yourself in the show notes. Next up.
Batman Ninja vs. Yakuza League shares its first trailer. So Batman Ninja will return, and Warner Brothers has shared a first look at the Dark Knight's fight against the Yakuza League. So yeah, take a look at this.
Yeah. Some people were like, why do we need this one? I hadn't seen the first one yet, so I couldn't weigh the other. Well, the fact that the people watched it, and probably why Warner Brothers said. But yeah, there's a little teaser for that joint if you could check that out. Next up, Megan Thee Stallion samples Jujutsu Kaisen soundtrack on a new song, Otaku Hot Girl. And I know people have had, words on this one, and some of the words just people need to shut up. But it's been overwhelmingly positive because I don't know too many people who don't love Megan Thee Stallion for one reason or another. Or both reasons for all I know. But yeah, so Megan Thee Stallion has dropped her third studio album, which is called Megan. The song Otaku Hot Girl's on there, and it has a bunch of anime references. And I believe this is the same song that people were talking about, where she is she's throwing a little bit of Japanese into the mix, of which people just need to shut up about. Or not all the people, but there are some people who are just being stupid. So, but you can check that out in this article, or you probably more than likely already have checked this out. Apparently, according to this article, the English voice actor for Itadori narrates the intro to the song. So there is your other Jujutsu Kaisen tie-in with that. Next up.
So in news that is bound to both excite and disappoint some people. Demon Slayer's final season is set to be released as a film trilogy. Demon Slayer Season 5, the final run of the beloved anime known as the Infinity Castle arc, will be released as a trilogy of films distributed by Crunchyroll and Sony Pictures Entertainment beyond Japan. No release dates or even a rough release schedule for the films were given, but they are confirmed to be coming to theaters. So, yeah, it's tough because I know that people are chomping at the bit to see this final arc animated. And we didn't talk about this earlier, but the final episode of the current season dropped this past Sunday. Let me tell you, it's a humdinger. It is beautiful. And now that it's out, Roddykat's going to circle back and watch it. I've been watching it as it's been released on a weekly basis. And let me tell you, I may just go back and rewatch it just to see, just to watch what I, enjoyed. And to get more of what I enjoyed out of this. What's tough about it is obviously the release schedule, given that there are 3 films, we know that animation takes time. And, the people behind the animation is UFO Table?
Yes.
Yeah, UFO Table does such a great job. They're going to take their time on this. And they're going to, put this out in theaters. And it's going to be 3 movies. We may not see the end of this until 2026.
And I think that's probably part of the point, because let's get a little curmudgeonly. This is a quote unquote AAA project. Like, this is a big deal. Like, this is a popular anime, so they're going to try to get as much out of it as they can.
Right.
Luckily, the show has still been quality wise great at least from what I know that I've seen. I don't suspect this past season or this stuff to be either different. So, but that being said, this could allow them to kind of put the last couple of episode polish that I was talking to Agent 70 about, in pre-show, that they put on the last couple of episodes into 3 movies. So it's going to look like the last couple of episodes in each season. So it's just going to be gorgeous, even if it wasn't already, which the show was already a show. Now, yeah, it is a bummer that it's broken up like that, and it's going to have a theatrical run, which is likely going to make it, even if they work on all of 3 of them at the same time, in succession, which they probably will be doing. They're going to split that out to give each some room to breathe and try to catch as much money off this as they can. Exactly. That's what it boils down to. But you know what? Fans like us, we will wait for it.
Right.
So,
Right.
That being said, unless you have something else you want to say about that.
No, that's it. Because we all know that's why they're doing it. It just sucks that we're going to be waiting.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's funny because, obviously, my anime journey having started, later in life, I had not yet really dealt with the wait, because I was basically catching up with stuff that had already finished their runs or was continuing their runs after several seasons had already been released. So, this is probably, one of my first experiences with the long wait. Obviously, I'm dealing with stuff that's current, like My Hero, but with Haikyuu, there was a long wait between the last season and the current movie that's still out in theaters, which I'm definitely tempted to go watch again before it leaves theaters. It's not in many theaters, but it's in one main theater that's in the city that I can get to easily after work. But bottom line is, that was what, like a 6-year wait or something, like 4 or 6 year wait? No, 6 years. 6 years. It was 18 to 22. Oh, no, 18 to 24. So yeah, 6 years.
And let's be honest, folks, y'all know Agent 70 was just going to rewatch Haikyuu again anyway, so this will be like his 5th watch. I'm slightly exaggerating, but probably not that by much.
Oh, you mean the movie?
No, the series.
Oh,
well,
no,
realistically,
but
huh?
More than 5.
Yeah, figured. My point still stands. The defense rests.
But I'm talking about rewatching the movie.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, in the wait between, Demon Slayer.
Right.
I could see
Well,
a
speaking
couple
of,
other
in
rewatches.
our next story actually covers one of the things that I've watched recently. Take
Go
that.
for it. Oh, wait,
Oh, no,
yeah.
no, it's your
Okay.
story.
Kaiju number 8 anime sequel has been officially announced and will, of course, stream on Crunchyroll. So yeah, the Kaiju number 8 just ended. Also just ended, and I know there's been enough people that I would trust with this to say that they enjoyed it. So, and this is which means it's another one that I'm probably it's not. I shouldn't say it like that because I was going to watch it regardless, but it's just another on my list to watch soon after I finish up the stuff that I was going to finish up. So yeah, episode 12 dropped, and that's the end of the first season. So we got this new season coming out. That was announced shortly thereafter the last episode was had dropped, and so at this point we don't have any news about when the new season is going to come out, but I'm sure we will get that news at some point fairly soon. It is worth noting that for some those who did not know, it says here that the manga's out. Yeah. Let's see. The anime is from the anime is from Production IG, who they have Haikyuu as one of the credits, and Psychopaths, which is another show that I know a lot of people like. And Production IG has done a whole lot of other stuff. So outside of this, these are just the more current popular ones, and the ones I could think of at the time anyway. So yeah, there you go, folks. More Kaiju number 8 on the way. Next up.
Yeah, I want to see the next part of Hibino Kafka's story. It's pretty fun.
I know, actually, you know what? I know of one person who had trouble, who said, and they were a big anime fan anyway, but they watched the first episode, and actually I meant to ask them about that. That they had a little, I guess it didn't hit for them. That first episode didn't hit for them, which, as you know, a lot of people know, and this person also knows, sometimes you got to give, and they did say they were going to give it the time, but sometimes you got to give anime more than just one episode,
right?
To kind of bake, And I know there are people who just like, if it doesn't hit me on one, then I'm out. I'm like, yeah, but you miss out on. You probably miss out on a good story that just needed time. Everything doesn't kind of happen in one episode. But anyway, that's speaking to the choir at this point, probably. Next up, though,
Crunchyroll announced more exclusives for the summer 2024 anime season, with the likes of Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest, The Elusive Samurai, and more coming out this summer. So previous titles being licensed, such as Tower of God, SHY Season 2, are coming out in the summer. So yeah, there's a schedule here in this article with stuff that has just started at the end of June, and as of yesterday, on July 4th, some new stuff and some more stuff coming out the rest of this month and next.
Yeah, like I said, you can also refer to that Anime Expo article that is in the clickbait section for more stuff that is being announced at Anime Expo. Along with this was next up, Studio Pierrot announces production on new Magical Girl TV anime. Let's see, it is from the aforementioned Studio Pierrot and Bandai Namco Filmworks. Let's see. It is a new, as yet untitled Magical Girl television and television series, and there's an announcement that is attached to this article that previews 5 Magical Girls. Excuse me. That previews. Oh wait, that previews the previous 5 Magical Girl television anime from the studio. Sorry, I read that article, the sentence all the way around. So, you can check that out if you are a fan of Magical Girl TV. And I know there are some of y'all Sailor Moon fans out there. So, if you hadn't already, check it out. Next up,
The staff for the anime of Kamome Shirahama's Witch Hat Atelier manga showed a promotional video during its panel at Anime Expo on Thursday, and it reveals the main staff and the 2025 premiere. So you get a teaser visual and the let's see here. I'm looking for a release date. Is there a release date?
I see a release date on the manga.
Right, but not for the anime.
Right.
So it's
'cause it was just
2025.
announced. Right.
Sometime in 2025. Okay.
Next up, new Panty and Stocking anime shares new poster and staff. Let's see. It says here that originally written by the creator simply known as Tagro, Panty and Stocking first premiered as a manga in 2010 and received its first anime adaptation later that year. Studio Gainax is the one doing Studio Gainax was the one doing the original anime, and Crunchyroll had the license for it, and it appears that the anime adaptation has changed hands to Studio Trigger, according to this article, best known for, again, they do put the most recent stuff and not the other stuff, but I guess I get why. Cyberpunk Edge Runners, Kill la Kill, and Little Witch Academia, most recently Delicious in Dungeon. So it's safe to say that this new is in good hands. But yeah, also announced at Anime Expo 2024, and no date was given as. Next up,
TRIGUN Stampede final phase is revealed as TRIGUN Stargaze. Original creator Yasuhiro Naitao showcases special illustration to celebrate. So let's see here. So this is based on so looking for a release date. I guess it's still in the works.
mm-hmm.
Still in the works. No announcement yet. But we got some some visuals that you can look at in this article.
Yeah, pretty much everything is just announcements. I don't think anything has a hard date yet. But also, I need to finish Trigun Stampede. I enjoyed it. Also, Wolfwood. Shout out to Nick D. Wolfwood. Solo Leveling Season 2 drops new trailer that is attached to this article. Not surprised that was the case. Let's see. And they talk about the recent video game, and of course, there is no date for when the season is going to drop. Unless you can read Korean and can decipher it from that image, which I don't think you can. Well, I can't. I'm sure some of y'all can. Next up,
Beastars creator teases anime's big final season. Paru Itagaki shared a special message to fans at Anime Expo about Beastars' final season. So, all right. So you know what? Good for her. That's all I can say. I don't have any kind of date here, so it's just a tease of the big final season.
Yeah, I do know that there are some fans of Beastars also. I've watched Beastars. It was interesting.
Okay.
It was quite interesting for what it is. It will definitely appeal to a certain audience.
Right. It's just tough when we're doing these news articles, and I'm like, all right, so yay, we tease something nice and new, but we don't have a date on it yet.
Yeah, which again, when expos like this happen, I mean, heck, we get that with in a lot of cases with comic book stuff too. So
sure,
it death happens. Like, granted, sometimes in comics though it's a little bit more concrete, where we're like, yeah, we already got a date. But anyway, This is the world of anime. Spy X Family Studios unveils a new movie called Grotesque. So Cloverworks and Wit Studio are added again. Again, this was announced at Anime Expo. Let's more than likely no date except for 2025. And this article also talks about other stuff that they're. Oh no, it's not. Yeah, they basically say 2025 is what we got. Here for that. So yeah, more Spy Family. Yay! Next up, we get into the comic book news.
All right, Deceased, Static, Kingdom Come, Batwoman, and more have been announced as part of DC Compact Comics Wave 2. So have you seen these compact comics at your local store?
Mm-mm.
I have. So
okay.
yeah, they're kind of like little cool anime style, digesty style, like maybe a little bit bigger than that. We got wave 2 of these $9.99 collections. So May 6, 2025, Kingdom Come. May 27, 2025, Static Season 1. June 3rd, 2025, Deceased. June 24th, Superman Birthright. June 15th, Superman Batman Book 1. And June 17th, Batwoman Elegy. So yeah, that's a little bit out of order, but that's the way the article's written.
Mm-hmm. To be fair, as I've went, the last couple of times I've gone to the store, I haven't actually thought about, going through that section heavily. So,
oh no, they had it on the counter, like they had a few set up by the register.
Wait, so you talking about at your comic book store, or you talking about at
yeah, at my comic book store.
Yeah, no, I definitely hadn't seen them at although, again, that section where they have that would have that kind of stuff, I hadn't really paid attention to. So there were probably some out there I just didn't notice. But I was thinking of like Walmart, because I know they have some of the stuff out there too, and whatnot. So I don't know. Next time I go in either one of those places, which will happen, I will check and see what they got out there. But I think you can still find some of those other ones that they used to have that were like big digest books. So that might still be out there. So don't know. Spoiler alert, folks. Batman dies in Batman 149, but in a way that I guess people weren't expecting.
You mean 150?
No, it says here 149.
Oh, okay.
This article says 149. So unless it's a typo.
No, it does say it does say 149. I apologize, because I know 150 came out this week.
Right. So, but yeah, apparently they didn't kill off Bruce Wayne again. I haven't been keeping up, so I don't care. But I'm sure that will affect something I will read.
Right.
At some point. Next up.
Interesting. Oh, well, what are you going to do with these things?
Yeah, he'll be back.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just like skimming the article. It's so weird.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, you want to hit this next one?
Yeah, I'll get to it in a second. I was just reading the article. Because I've been reading Batman, but I haven't really read Zdarsky's run, so Rodney Barnes makes his DC debut with Steven Subich on Batman Full Moon. DC Comics has revealed a new werewolf Batman story right in time for Halloween. That's obviously, it's launching in October with pre-orders already starting this month. Goodness gracious. All right. This is a DC Black Label book, and it's Rodney Barnes' first foray at DC Comics. So Rodney Barnes from Philadelphia.
Yeah. And whatever book that I talked about earlier that he wrote for Inquisitors, excuse me. Wait. So the pre-order's starting. So it's never mind. Because I was about to say if it's starting soon, then that means it'll end by Halloween, which that'd be timely. But it looks like it's starting on October 9th.
Right.
So, but it's still being the first issue will still be in time for Halloween. Gotcha. All right. Let's see. After 6, I told Age of 70 about this earlier, and spoiler alert for folks for something that's coming up in Absolute Power. But say goodbye to the Fortress of Solitude, apparently, which is going to be destroyed in that DC event. And it's going to happen in Absolute Power number 3, which is in September, which I'm pretty sure, I know solicits are definitely out already. So read solicitations. You've probably already been spoiled on this. Excuse me. Yeah, ain't nothing else to say about that. Next.
In a special first look at Ultimate Spider-Man number 7, Peter and Harry are put to work. Okay. This is in the wake of the events of the last issue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't want to spoil what happened in the last issue, so it's cool.
I mean, it's been a couple of weeks. It's been out. I mean, I don't.
It's on sale at the end of the month, July 31st.
Mm-hmm. I was like, I actually barely remember what happened as a issue now that I think about it. But hey, it'll come back to me. Stop.
Oh, nothing.
Okay. So Marvel.
I was just swearing at something. It's all right. Go ahead.
Okay. Marvel teases. I was about to say it could be this next story because Marvel teases the 8 deaths of Spider-Man this fall. So it's a 10-issue series. That's going to be written by Joe Kelly and Justina Ireland and will be illustrated by Ed McGuinness and Gleb Melnikoff. Melkinoff, excuse me. Sorry. Put some letters there. There's the I guess the not the trailer but the poster for it. Yeah, there's really not much else to say about it because then they really don't have much else in this article about it either. So, wait, it does say. So let's see. Following Zeb Wells' landmark run. Who wrote this?
That's a bit, bit much.
I think that might be. This is probably from the press release. I almost guarantee you. It says writer Joe Kelly and Justina Ireland alongside Ed McGuinness and the brother will give you a new Spidey epic tale, the 8th Deaths of Spider-Man. Stay tuned in the coming weeks for more information on this 10-issue arc launching this fall, and to discover what comes next for John Romita Jr. and Amazing Spider-Man. Keep reading, True Believer. That definitely came from a Marvel press release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, actually, yep, the article did mention that. So yeah, we got that coming up. Next up,
Marvel goes disco with new Dazzler variant covers that are coming out in August 2024. 21 covers in all, and the covers feature new looks that blend superhero fashion with 70s nightlife attire. Okay. So, this is all ahead of the new Dazzler series, written by Jason Liu with art by Rafael Loureiro, launching September 18th. So, talk about priming the pump.
Yeah. Hey, I like that second, the second Amazing variant, and the Avenger one right after it. Oh yeah, there's some interesting ones here.
Wait a second. Who's doing the art on the Mary Jane one?
I don't think it's J. Scott Campbell. If
that's
what you're asking.
I don't think it is. It's too bad it's not J. Scott Campbell. J. Scott Campbell's the Avengers
one. Yeah. So I saw that and I knew that's where you were thinking.
That one is obvious.
Wait, are we sure that's J. Scott Campbell? Because I'm seeing a name down here that's not.
The Avengers one is a signature.
Is that his?
He signed. It says Campbell right next to Black Panther, right below his knee.
Oh, okay. I thought that was the first name. Oh,
No, that's
okay.
Chase.
Campbell 2024. Okay, yeah. Now I'm seeing that. Okay, I guess. All right. Yeah, solid. But yeah, I'm scrolling through some of these. You know, those are the most interesting ones that I see. Except for the Doctor Strange one, but that's funny. And the Fantastic Four one.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Disco Tigra.
The Hulk one is Todd
yeah.
Knock.
Yeah, I definitely know that one. And that was
Oh
pretty
my
cool.
god, that Immortal Thor one.
Okay, She-Hulk one's pretty good. Yeah, oh yeah, that was the one I was gonna. If you hadn't seen that, I was gonna call your attention to that one.
Yeah.
As
my goodness.
people who are watching the video version can see what we're talking about. Let's see. Okay, there's a Miles one. That's pretty. That's nice. Which, there we go. Uncanny X-Men with Magic, Venom. Who cares? And of course, oh wow. Well, yeah, that is still going to be out by this time. Vengeance of the Moon Knight, which I just caught up on fairly recently, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what happened, huh? Wolf by Night, X Factor. There's a lot of them, folks. You know what? Let me just stop right there.
21 of them.
Yeah, and there's the oh no, the last one is the Psylocke one. There you go. All right. Anyway, so I'm sure you'll see them. We will see them again on some of those titles. Marvel explains why Magneto keeps getting older. Well, so okay, this is a weird article because the title says one thing and the article itself says the other thing. Because the title says Marvel explains why Magneto keeps getting older, but other Marvel heroes stay the same age. However, the article itself says that Marvel Comics editor Tom Brevoort explained why Magneto doesn't seem to get any older, even though other characters around him do.
Right.
So that's weird. And then, of course, this comes from Brevoort's Substack newsletter, of which I didn't read last week, now that I think about it. Or, yeah. So,
but Magneto's been reborn a couple of times, so that's not, you know.
It mentions that, yeah.
Yeah, this is not going to be like the biggest explanation, you know?
Right. But basically, Brevoort says you gotta let some things go, was the short end of it. And like I said, it does mention the rebirths also. So, yeah, there is that. But you can read the article and or the Substack for yourself if you want to know what the deal is with that. Next up,
Avengers Academy, Marvel's Voices announced for Marvel Unlimited. So, the all-new ongoing weekly Infinity comic series written by Anthony Oliveira and drawn by Carola Borelli, Bailey Rosenlund, and guest artists. So this is Avengers Academy, Marvel's Voices. Oh, all right. So doing some stuff with some of the newer characters, younger characters that have been introduced over the last several years. So and it's a place to showcase them.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Also, one of them is just puts me in mind of a Janet Jackson song, and I do remember reading about that character. Speaking of, X-Men editor reveals alternate ending to Krakoa. I guess this would be spoilers for X-Men 35 if I were to mention, but apparently Jordan D. White was speaking to AIPT for their X-Men Mondays interview, and I believe it was the last one with him with that, and explained that there were a character that I hadn't thought about in I don't know how long that gets to be front and center for the coming out of Krakoa. So won't spoil that, but if you're watching the video version, you probably just saw. So yeah, but you can check out the article to what was the alternate ending for Krakoa. Next up.
1 second. Some overseas retailers have started opening pre-orders for what appears to be a straight-up reissue of the previously released Walgreens exclusive Marvel Legends Magic figure from Hasbro. There's also a Hasbro pre-order listed that seems to suggest that is when the figure will officially go for pre-order everywhere. Okay, I got this, so I'm okay.
Do I? I don't think I have a Magic.
I think I got this now. I'm starting to have doubts. I think I got this.
There's also
I got this Magic.
I don't know if this was intentional for the article, but there's a couple of shots of a flame-haired Ghost Rider, just like
Right.
Johnny Blaze, that was mixed in with it.
I think that's shown for scale.
No, because it wasn't near. It was about.
Oh no, because I guess it comes with the flaming skull.
Oh, because it's a Build-A-Figure.
The flaming skull, yeah.
And now here's for scale because they have Magic next to Warlock and Cannonball. Yeah. Which I did not know that figure was out. So, or neither one of those figures was out. But anyway,
I think I got this. Now I'm gonna have to go look. This sucks.
Don't you hate that? It was like, you know what? You get to that point, it was like, I probably do have it, but probably don't. But you know,
I gotta look. Ugh.
Yeah, gotta love it. Next up, though.
That's you.
That's right. Marvel Legends Series 85th Anniversary Hulkbuster figure in hand. So yeah, we talked about this figure being announced already, and now somebody got their hands on it. Hasbro's Dan Yun, and put next to the 85th anniversary Iron Fist and Luke Cage figure box. You can see them both there in the and if you're watching the video version, you know, the whole poster is a little bit bigger, and you can see the some of the accoutrements.
A lot bigger.
Yes. And of both boxes. So most people talking about it. And yeah, the pre-orders are out there, so if you want either one of those, I guess at it if you hadn't already. Next up,
Hot Wheels Batman 85th anniversary set includes 5 Batmobiles. You get 5 versions of the Batmobile throughout Batman's history. You get the 66 Batmobile, you get the 89 Batmobile, you get the Batmobile from the Batman and Robin movie, the Dark Knight trilogy tumbler. For whatever reason, you get the camouflage version, and you get the Batman's Batmobile from the recent The Batman movie, the Pattinson movie, which is like the Fast and Furious Batmobile.
I think the camouflage part is like a wrap. I think you can take off of that. I'm not entirely sure because there is a picture here that doesn't have that on there, and I don't know if that was the case or not. But regardless, hey, it's out there like Agent 76. Next up though, Dungeons and Dragons reveals the redesigned Wizard class. So yeah, the Wizard is getting some new abilities in the 2024 Player's Handbook for Dungeons and Dragons, some of which was outlined in a video that was released by Hasbro and the Dungeons and Dragons Wizard Post rather, from lead rules designer Jeremy Crawford, and yeah, who says that the Wizard received many class improvements, come from improved spell rules found in magic spells and other things that I won't go here. But hey, all you D&D wizards out there, congratulations, or probably get ready to bitch. I don't know, because there's always a little bit of both in this situation. Next up.
So Mezco Con 2024 debuts a 112 collection G.I. Joe Snake Eyes Commando Edition. So this is more like the original Snake Eyes that did not have a sword. So he's got, firearms, grenades, C4, grappling hook, and more. The waitlist opens at Mezco Toys for $112. You can also get it at the Mezco Toys booth at SDCC.
Mm-hmm. And just flip through a couple of the pictures of it, and there you go. Queen Studios human-sized Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime statue has official images. So let's official human-sized, which is 149 Hong Kong bucks. Oh, here we go. Wow, 19,145 US. That's kind of crazy. But I'm pretty
Wait,
sure.
what?
Yeah, $19,145 US, human sized.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So, and you can see if you click through some of the pictures, you can see, you know, and there's even a picture with a human, an actual human to scale, in there that you can check out. You know what? Must be nice to have more money than sense. Next up.
Yikes. Spoiler alert, the Energon universe dives deep into classic Transformers lore with a new character reveal.
Yeah, I was wondering about this when I read this. When I read that book.
Right, so Destro #1 introduces a character who is obscure and only ever appeared in one Transformers cartoon episode, who has been reimagined as a ruthless businesswoman, spoiler, it's a woman, in the Energon universe. Okay.
Yeah. They've had some pulls because they had like Dr. Vandermeer, not in Destro, but, well, no, it was in Cobra Commander, but Dr. Vandermeer and one other lady that was, I think it was in the first issue of the Marvel's G.I. Joe comic. So they've had some cuts in the Energon universe. So there you go. But yeah, that's just one of many. Because like I said, I remember reading that of like, okay, I'm pretty sure this is probably from something that I don't remember, including also the cousin, which I still hadn't figured out. But anyway, an original Mighty Morphin Power Ranger recreates a devastating moment. Spoilers for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 121, and apparently, according to this article, I'll just read the sentence. The Power Rangers' darkest hour has just driven an original member of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, of which you have seen, if you're watching the video version, to recreate Lord Dracon's darkest moment. I guess either a sacrifice or pulling a sword into the own type situation or something. I don't know because I was not up on that book. Last but not least,
Image, Skybound, and Hasbro announced Choose Your Side initiative for the comic G.I. Joe #1. Which side are you on? So this will allow readers to vow loyalty to either G.I. Joe or Cobra, and their allegiance will be featured in the series' pages. Readers can go to GIJoeChooseYourSide.com to choose their allegiance and upload a photo of themselves to be included in an upcoming issue. Privacy. Skybound is promising that the ads will run until every single eligible submission has been featured. Okay. So you get to be part of a G.I. Joe story. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Also worth noting that we didn't talk about last week is that this new series will introduce a new character, which, if you're watching the video version, I believe it is the character that is to the right of Duke, holding the shotgun.
Right.
So that's going to be a brand new character for the series that we will in November.
It kind of reminds me of a little bit. I don't know what. There's something about the design reminds me a little bit of whatchamacallit, from the remember the cartoon Cops? I don't know why.
Fighting Crime in the Future's Time. Yes.
Yeah. There's something about him that reminds me of that.
I was thinking, weirdly enough, a little bit of Brave Star, but yes, I know
Brave Star too.
That.
Brave Star also because of the cowboyish look. Yeah, that too.
But yes, I know who you're talking about, even though I couldn't tell you anyone's name from that show.
Right, but there's something about it that that's reminiscent of that and Battlestar.
Mm-hmm.
Brave Star, I mean.
Brave Star, yeah, I got you. So yeah, we'll find out more about him in November, like I said. And that, folks, is the end of the news. Get our last ad read.
All righty. Our last ad read of the night is for Amazon. Keep our podcast free by shopping at Amazon. Visit cspn.us, then click the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down and click on the Amazon link to shop. Purchase items from Amazon as you normally would, whether it's books, music, electronics, jewelry, apparel, or Marvel Legends. For every purchase made on Amazon through our link, Amazon sends the CSPN a payment that helps us keep the Comic Book Chronicles podcast free for our listeners at no extra cost to you. Amazon.com through CSPN.us. Do it today.
All right, folks, that is it for us on this day after the 15th of after Juneteenth. We will be back next week at our regular time on Thursdays. So look out for that. But of course, if any changes, we will put them out on our socials as followed. I am Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter. You can find me at News Twitter. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram. Which, by the way, I did put a couple of new posts up, and there are a couple in the wings in relation to one of the books we talked about this week. Agent 70, you can find him on Twitter at agent_70. Also Instagram and Threads. You can find this here podcast on the Cold Slither Podcast Network. That's ESPN.us.
Do it today.
You can also find this on your podcast place of choice, whether it be Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Cold Slither Podcast Network SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, because that helps people find our show.
Yeah. And you can also catch us live, mostly every Thursday night, on the YouTube channel of the Click Nation, of which I think this show is about to turn into a podcast on YouTube, because I know they have that function. So if I get that squared, I will talk about it more when I get that done. Doesn't seem that hard of a process. But anyway, you can go to youtube.com/theclicknation for that. And you could also go to twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles to check us out live. And hey, check out the fact that one of us is probably going to be streaming some video games on there a little bit more often. Trying to get Agent 70 to get in there, but he's a
Make
busy
sure to
man.
click like, make sure to click like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you know when we're on live.
Absolutely. And congrats, thanks to the new follower. So what? Oh, okay. Okay. That might have been echo. Congrats. Thank you for the follows and the likes and all that kind of good jazz on the Twitch and the YouTubes and all that. And with that, folks, like I said, we will be back next week. Same Thursday nights, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, if I did not say that, on the channels previously just mentioned. And this has been the Comic Book Chronicles. Peace.
Peace. One.
And knowing is half the battle.